Hello, guys and gals, me, Mutahar, and I'm gonna run a thought experiment by people, okay? I wanna make sure that I'm not crazy. Do you think if you pay $60 for a game, for anything, that it should be taken away from you in less than 10 years, okay? If the answer is yes, then you know what? Spread your cheeks, dog, because this is the future of the industry that we sit in, okay? Now, I'm one of those people where every time I talk about this, everyone says, wow, Muda, you have a case of the old. Every time I mention Muda, anytime Mutahar here says, this is how crazy I'm talking in third person, okay? Anytime I say games don't need to be online only, you know, I'm not saying this because I don't have a good internet connection to my house. It's because I care about preserving a video game, right? Because anytime a piece of software gets made, I like to be able to go back to it maybe 10 years later, right? You know, I still fired up Max Payne 3 on the old Steam Deck literally today. That's a game that's pretty old now. But you know what? Not online only. Literally just had to download the game again, play it offline without any internet connection whatsoever. There are a lot of games these days that are called MMOs, you know, but they're not really, in my opinion, MMOs. When I think of an MMO, I think of fucking World of Warcraft, okay? I think of something with thousands of people in a session at any given moment. Today's game is The Crew. Now, The Crew is a revolutionary action-driving MMO. As much as I've played this game, okay, it is about as much of an MMO as is Destiny. This is a game that you can pretty much play by yourself with AIs, and sure, you can play with friends. Your friends can huddle right in. It's very much up there with Forza Horizon, okay, in terms of how MMO-like this game actually is. I made a video on this where I drove from New York City all the way to Los Angeles. The gimmick of this game was one of my favorite gimmicks ever. You literally had a representation of the United States. You could drive your car from one end of the US to the other. No, it wasn't like the entirety of the United States, but it was a pretty cool concept. I made a fun video, had a good time, drove for an hour. They're actually shutting this game down. All additions and additional content for The Crew are no longer available to purchase. The game will remain playable until March 31st, 2024. For all The Crew owners, the dumbasses that bought this shit, the game servers will shut down, which means the game will not be accessible anymore. Now, I wouldn't give a crap about this because I get it. It's a game that was online only. It's shutting down. The servers are shuttering. There is no good reason on God's green earth why Ubisoft, a AAA developer, cannot spend a modicum of resources to make this game offline only, okay? The fact that in the Steam pages they're writing it's single player should be categorized as a fucking lie, okay? This is deceptive advertising. Even with games like The Crew 2, which people are like, why do you care so much? Just buy The Crew 2, dumbass. I mean, clearly, why aren't you playing the newest game out there? Man, the amount of people that would make that claim, and there are people out there, are like the biggest dick lickers for this kind of shitty practices to exist. They're selling this game for $70 right now. It was released 2018. If this game shuts off 2027, okay, the year of Deus Ex Human Revolution, then this is just another martyr in this online-only cause. And they sell this game as a single-player title alongside MMO. I feel like if you put single-player inside the categories for what you're selling, you should have an offline mode, okay? You should 100% legally provide that. This shouldn't be legal. Unfortunately, it seems like it is. So one of the things about it too is there's been some people who looked into the code for The Crew and found out that offline mode is in the game, but it's hidden disabled for us normal players. Using a hex editor, you can go through thecrew.exe and find references to a requested offline mode and local save data functionality. And even if you look at the screenshots for this posted around on Reddit right now, you can see that it even has a press X to play offline, meaning that in some way, Ubisoft has also thought of this, but they're not making this game offline only. And here's the reality of it, ladies and gentlemen. There's no good reason why they shouldn't. See, at the end of the day, this game doesn't do anything that's so, internet required, okay? I'm sure that the bones of this game probably have internet functionality baked into it, but the reality is, a company as large as Ubisoft can easily afford to make this game offline only. Introduce a patch for the people that have this game on the Xbox, the PlayStation, the PC, finally get to keep their purchase well after Ubisoft stops giving a shit about it. Because here's the thing, this game has a really cool concept to it. Unfortunately, there's going to be a whole slew of gamers that'll never be able to play this game and will only ever experience it through YouTube videos, through Twitch stream VODs, and that's pretty much it. Now, the thing is, at the end of the day, it's not just this game that I'm worried about. It's like the future of the industry. There's a lot of games that are online only in nature. Games that don't really even need to have a complete online requirement. And that's the thing. There's still gamers that are okay with it because in their mind, whatever, I always have the internet. Who cares? Time and time again, this isn't the only game that has ever shuttered itself. There are multiple games in the history of just the last generation, just this generation right now, where games consistently shut off, there's no more support for them, and all of a sudden, this piece of actual gaming history is fucking missing. And somehow people are okay with it. Somehow, for some users, it's not that big of a deal. And here's the thing, there's individuals that are demanding an offline patch, and I'm gonna tell you like it is, Chief. Ubisoft is never going to do this. Ubisoft's not gonna care about this situation. And even if it's removed from Steam and it's removed from even Ubisoft's own launcher, the fact that they can shut this game off shouldn't be legal whatsoever. It's not even 10 years old, and Ubisoft has already figured that it's not the cost to upkeep and whatever. And I get it. Servers cost money. They could probably allocate those servers to some other important game. But if that's the case, patch an offline mode to it. Do something. Don't let this game be lost to the ends of time. I mean, something as simple like that, after the amount of money that they've made just off this game alone, seems like a no-brainer. And easily for Ubisoft, it could be the best gesture of goodwill, period. Look, it's not just this game you have to worry about. I'm predicting, at least in the next couple of years, a lot of games that you guys grew up with and cared about, you know, even just last generation, are all going to go offline. And this is the thing, if you wanted to relive those memories, they're all gone. Could you imagine, for a second, if the Borderlands franchise was released in today's day and age, and somehow a Gearbox decided, we just got to make this game online only? Well, all of a sudden, 10 years from now, games like Borderlands 1, if they were released in this online-only climate, would just be lost to time immemorial. And then people who wanted to play that original game will never get to play it because somewhere the developers at the time, the publishers, whatever, decided it should only be an online-only experience. And all of a sudden, because the servers have been switched off, that game can never be played again. I sometimes imagine if like a lot of these single-player type games that we enjoyed with these online functionalities that are tied to online-only infrastructures, if like when I was growing up playing games like Grand Theft Auto, playing games like, you know, Battlefield, like some of the original games with like LAN connections, Call of Duty even. Nowadays, a Call of Duty release is very much an online-only endeavor. Back in the day, you can still dig up a copy of Black Ops, put that into an Xbox 360, grab some controllers, get some beers, and play it with the boys. Nowadays, nearly every release for most major games are tied to an online-only framework, and as soon as those servers go off, your memories are gone entirely. Look, this is just a sad situation, and this game, it does hit me. I don't play The Crew that often, but occasionally from time to time, I will download these games, revisit a save file, and unfortunately, not even 10 years later, the advent of me playing some of these games is just slowly diminishing and going away. And it's nobody else's fault but these developers and publishers who decided from the get-go these games have to be tied to the internet. I feel like there should be a law that says if you're willing to do that, you should be willing to, at the end of the game's life, patch a goddamn offline mode. I feel like this should be illegal. I really do. And honestly, if you disagree, we have to agree to disagree here. There's no good reason why a $60 purchase, not even a decade old now, has just been ripped away from people. And there is nothing you can do about it. That's gaming, boys and girls, in 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and yeah. I don't know what else to say, man. You know, honestly, I can yell into the fucking air all I want, but gamers will just be complacent. They'll be okay with it. Anytime you talk about owning your games and preserving them, it's always whining and constant placating and letting these publishers and developers get away with absolute crap like this. This is me, Mutahar, and yeah, nothing else to say, man. Disgusting behavior. I'm out.